What is going on in your imagination? This is a very, 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 very important thing to look at. Times where I would see things that I believe God's wanting to bring, I would see it in my imagination, I would also hear my soul respond. My soul would respond to, well, that can't happen because da 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 da. Or this can't happen because da 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 da. And those are the moments that you get to rewrite the script by answering some of those things that your soul is bringing up. Your soul will say things like, the first thing you might say, which I hear all the time from people about their assignment, is, I'm not qualified. What qualification do I have? Nobody has ordained me or given me permission. Like your soul. It's a very, very important conversation for you to finish in there. And so, Lord, what are you doing? I want to agree with heaven. I want to partner with heaven. I agree with heaven. What are you doing? God is never not doing something in your life. Never. There is always something happening. And it is always, He's bringing upgrades to us. And let's look at the garden, right? I talk about the 6 trees of the abundant life. Spirit, soul, body, heart, finances, purpose. These 6 major things that make up the abundant life. So this is a time for you to go, which trees are you watering, Lord? Which trees are you nurturing? Because the speed of what you are about to do is completely determined by you aligning with that. So when you can know, oh, He's watering my purpose tree right now, you sit in that place. Your imagination loves the Lord with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and you give yourself to that subject to see what He is doing instead of trying to tell Him He should be working on your finances. And so learning to move with Him is a skill. It's not a religious practice. You're already ready. Where you're underqualified is the speed at which you move. The speed at which you take action. The speed at which you are willing to risk. And when you master that, you start to see the flow. We talk about the flow, the wave rising. This year I've seen 2 big waves rising and I found myself on top of this wave, but because of practice, I was okay at the top of that wave. Let me explain to you what I mean by wave. When you obey God, there's a wave that starts to build because now you're going out of your control and handing it over to Him. And that wave, when it starts to rise and you are on a board, it is scary because you have no control. If you've been in the ocean, you know what I'm saying. When a wave starts to rise, you are now at the mercy of that wave. And now you can't change the wave. You can either flow with it, ride with it, or jump off or fight or get wiped out. But you can't change that wave. And this is what it's like with the Lord. When the wave's rising, I see so many people, they'll jump off their board, or they'll turn around and go back to the shore. Or some, as the wave rises, they stay. But when the wave starts to peak, and it is scary at the top of a big wave. I don't know if you've ever been at the top of a big wave, but in my limited amateur rubbish surfing career, a few times I found myself at the top of a wave, and it was scary. And my imagination was only primed for a wipeout. You hear what I'm saying? My imagination was only primed for a wipeout. And in that moment, at the top of that wave, all I'm seeing is, oh boy, here we go, I'm getting smashed. There was no room in my imagination for, I'm about to ride this thing, because I never prepped it. And so when this wave goes up, people's imaginations go wild. Oh, but I might lose my boyfriend. Oh, God might tell me to move my house. Oh, God might tell me to quit my job. And no control on this wave. And it's scary. And in that moment, all you are left with is your board and your trust that you are going to make it with this board. And when you skip that, you can't ride waves. Everybody wants to ride the waves of God, and nobody wants to get on the wave. Everybody wants to ride the latest thing, what God is doing, but they don't want to become good at balancing on the board, at paddling out to the big wave, at handling what's about to happen at the top of that wave. But you know something about surfing? Nobody goes out there the first time and becomes a champion. Nobody. It takes repeat exposure. Repeat exposure. Just like if I repeatedly expose you to violence, you become desensitized. To abuse, sexual, physical, emotional, you become desensitized. Repeat exposure desensitizes you. But for some reason, we don't go into repeat exposure with the Lord. And He's calling all of you onto your wave. So the problem with the church thing is we all go to church and sit down on the beach watching the pastor or watching the worship leader or watching a prophet ride the waves. And everybody's like, oh, awesome, wow, flowing in the gifts and riding the waves. But we never ride our own waves. Every Sunday, can you imagine 300, 200, 100 sit on the beach all excited having a picnic just watching someone else ride the wave? When you were created to ride your wave, your own wave. You know how easy it would be for me to gather all the Christians who like to sit on the beach and never ride a wave and just encourage them every Sunday, like hype them up? I would be a good hype man. Every Sunday you come, I hype you up, give you some good scripture stuff, and then you'd go back to your normal life. It's really easy. What I am saying will always be a minority because it is forcing you to take action, to move, make decisions. It's uncomfortable. But that is the only place where breakthrough lies. And God is calling you onto your wave. Your wave. And so some of you are now paddling out to your wave for the first time. And when you paddle, your shoulders, your core strength, your balance, your stability, right? Everything that you believe about you and God gets tested. Your stamina. Nobody goes into the back waves right from the start. When you first start, you start with the small waves. And so you don't paddle out that far because you are training. Get ready, train, use your muscles, get in the water, jump on these waves. If I was to use biblical examples, then Joseph, when he was sold as a slave, was learning how to ride the small waves. He was thrown onto a surfboard into the water when he was sold as a slave, thrown into a pit. He's going through all these emotions and he's learning about surfing the small waves. And as he learned how to surf them from the wipeouts, he becomes one of the top slaves. As he's a top slave, now he gets thrown into bigger waves. Now he's in prison for something he never did, and he's learning everything he used in the smaller waves. He's using the same fundamentals, but now they're just on a slightly bigger scale. Slightly bigger consequences, but also bigger rewards, bigger waves. And he starts learning how to ride them, and now he's administrator of a prison. He's on the bigger waves. And then he gets thrust into his ultimate destiny, into the biggest wave that he's going to ride. God is taking us wave to wave to wave, glory to glory to glory. It does not happen just based on God saying it without you moving. Without you